Thank you, Sally. A very good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. It's always a great privilege to present at this conference. First of all, the Navitas team is so generous with their time, ideas, and thoughts. And also, you get here in this forum, within these four tiny walls, such a fantastic collection of talent across the education industry. So for our business, we really use this presentation as the start of our strategy for the next 3 years, doing research and bouncing off ideas here that we apply to the education industry broadly for the next 3 to 5 years. And of course, it was such an inspiring first session, and I've got many notes, so I might deviate from my spiel, but with that, we'll kick off. We stand here about 2 kilometers from Angkor Wat, the Hindu temple devoted to God Vishnu, the Hindu God Vishnu, the God of preservation. And of course, that is an eminent theme for education these days, that we all preserve our businesses and help that grow. Some of you may have picked that Meditations is the work produced by Marcus Aurelius, a great piece of philosophical thinking and strategy, and so I lean on that a bit. So Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher Caesar, as I call him, called Maximus his great general, and said to him, "Maximus, I want to discuss the mighty Rome. There was once a dream that was Rome. You could only whisper it. Anything more than a whisper and it would vanish. It was so fragile." Ladies and gentlemen, that mighty Rome, of course, is the many education institutions you represent and are brand custodians for, and that whisper is your advertising. And I hope in this presentation, give you some pointers on how to invest that advertising money well. As Sally said, we have 30 plus years advertising internationally, and the media landscape is now more challenging than ever with the use of technology and AI. So I'm trying to simplify in this presentation what you should possibly look at and do in guiding your marketing and advertising teams. So here we are encountered by this media puzzle, a haze of terms related to media planning for education, some relevant and some poetic, and many of these can confound and does confound the best marketing minds, call to actions, personas, keywords, impressions, return on investment. It's important to understand that the tool is not the outcome and that measurement is not money. So we always advocate that marketing managers, directors, and business leaders look at the final outcome before they embark on a path for their media planning. This net talk will help you simplify the process and perhaps arrive at a template that you can evaluate, adapt, and hopefully succeed. We walk through 4 critical parts of this process, and I'll try to conclude in the 15 minutes given to me. The first important part, of course, is to plan your media objectives. What should you be targeting? And we hear this over and over again in every fora. Should we go for leads? Should it be branding? Should we go for enrollments? What is this ideal mix? How to harmonize the jigsaw of leads, branding, and enrollments? Pure lead generation, we think, is a lazy choice, seeking to steal the leads that already exist in the market without branding and thrust you into a coliseum of competitors, all armed with the same tool. Leads without branding results in a loss of your money. Sorry, I'll go back to the previous slide. It results in a loss of your money because you simply lift the need for education amongst the target group, but lose that to competitors who are better branded. So what's this estimate? We estimate that over time, pure branding can help you almost double the enrollments you get from pure lead activity. And of course, the happy mix, which I'll talk about later, lies somewhere in between this. I'm sorry about this complicated slide, but it just illustrates that in tracking we have done, we believe that 50% of your money is wasted if you are only doing pure lead advertising without supporting branding advertising. So we would strongly suggest that branding goes first and leads if you have to do it. Might be a revolutionary idea because everyone's chasing leads. But I'll say it again, go for branding, leads will follow. So what is the ideal investment ratio? We have tracked this over time and believe that a 65 to a 35% ratio of branding to leads is a very good ratio to follow over the life cycle of your activity, whether that is 1 year, 5 years, 8 years, or 10 years. And you need not tweak this ratio, simply track how it's working for you over time. The next critical element in media planning is knowing what you are getting for your investment. And we define this in terms of the two basic parameters that have forever been used for media planning. How many people are you talking to and how often? Since budgets are relatively inelastic, it is important to precisely define the audience you are going after. Do not target vast cities if you have tiny budgets. It's very important to determine the cost of entry to a market and see if you have the resources to enter. Otherwise, keep the money in your bank. Markets are a blend of location and persona, and whatever you select, plan to target at least 80% of that segment at least 3 to 5 times. Any less than a reach of 50% in the segment, or a frequency of less than 3 times, again, you are simply investing in your competitor's activity and would be better off using that money for other things. I talked about branding earlier and reach and frequency and this competitor's pocket. It's very important to have these three elements working together, because if they do, you need less counselors, and less counselors can do more. Because if you have the right branding to give you the counselor air cover, then the counselors convert a lot more. I know the equation in many markets, especially places like India and China, to have a lot of counselors and put numbers against the counselors, asking them to convert 8 or 10 or whatever else. I think that can be reduced both in terms of cost and efficiency if you provide them the right air cover. The next challenge is how to plan your media mix. In this great haze of various media, social, digital, traditional, a matrixed media universe where almost everything is right and almost everything could be wrong, because you burn money very fast making the wrong choice. How do you decide the ideal handshake between the various media you use? Channel selection, we think, should meet an envelope of 3 fundamental criteria. We talked about reach and frequency before, and a CPM benchmark that you establish for each market that you are entering. So challenge your marketing people and your ad agencies to please come up with a CPM benchmark so you know what you are buying for the money you are investing. Now, media that don't meet the CPM criteria should be dropped very clinically. And we just use the example of the Mumbai market, one of the most hotly contested in education advertising. We've chosen a local language media, Maharashtra Times, which is the top language in Mumbai, and compared that with Education Times, which is the top education platform. Because local languages have gained great traction in many countries in East Asia over the last 15 years or so. Counterintuitively, you will see that the cost of targeting the local language through a digital platform is almost half of that of using the traditional Education Times platform, plus you get almost the same reach. Whereas Education Times, where traditionally most of your advertising is in the digital platform, you're better off using the print platform because it has a far greater reach with a small increase in the CPM. We also determined that the CPM threshold per our calculations for the market for Mumbai is $7. So you don't compete, you don't add anything to the plan that is higher than this threshold. You must understand that all pricing in media is based on perceived value. And you simply chasing your competitors to be where they are will only result in the price going up for everyone else. So analyze and then add, not the other way around. Now, the other element of folly we see in a lot of education advertising is the use of response mechanisms, coupons or QR codes or links to websites. It's very important to understand the response rates to each of those mechanisms in your creative. For example, in many countries, a response rate to a QR code at 6% is excellent. But you might talk to a university or education provider and they say, you know, I've just got 6%, I've got 7%. So you will draw the wrong conclusions if you don't understand what the industry benchmark is for the geography you are in before you advertise. So QR codes work very well in Pakistan, for example. They don't work well in Singapore, and so on. So you need to understand what's working and perhaps adapt the creative based on that knowledge. Otherwise, again, you're losing a lot of your money just doing generic advertising across the spectrum. Now, this is my favorite topic, positioning. So I believe that modern media is so effective that a media plan cannot fail if you've done that correctly. So what fails in your advertising is really your creative posture and positioning. In his treatise on marketing warfare, Sun Tzu wrote, the first rule was to know thyself. And we have all fallen for the trap of data-driven keywords, copy testing, and creative optimization. While all these are excellent tools, and I've written myself a platform, as Ali was saying, to use these tools, they do not replace the vision of the product creator. Why did you create this product? Or the brand custodian. Why do you think your students should do this course? I say bring back the Leonard Cohen, bring back the David Ogilvy, bring back the Bill Burbach, bring back the Leo Burnett. And if your agencies don't know these names, get another agency. Why does your offering exist? Craft your positioning. You know, there are many books on positioning. I like Al Ries and Jack Trout. Craft your positioning and take the time to define why you have entered this business. There are many universities globally and many in this room who have created fantastic advertising campaigns based on great positioning. But they have dropped them 2 years later and gone back to the old AdWord campaign, and one cannot understand the decision-taking process that would have led to this. So as custodians of the heritage you have inherited, I use the Patek Philippe line that we are merely custodians to pass this on to the next generation. So don't tinker with it if you've got something great, let it run. So I say repeat, repeat, and repeat again. Please do not get bored of your own advertising. This is a great sin that most of us fall for. We get fed up of seeing our own ads. So repeat. And I will illustrate great positioning using the spectacular marketing battle we see every 4 years, the US election. So we've got Vice President Kamala Harris, who has caught up in a very short time to Trump in most swing states. Now, what you might have noticed through her various speeches is that she might sound boring if you're tracking her. But since 2020, she has always said this line, since 2020, when we fight, we win. And you'll see she repeats this in every possible fora. So I'll just illustrate it quickly.
Let's leave it all on the field. Because when we fight, we win. Thank you.
This was 2022.
And let us always remember, when we fight, we win.
2024. And again, so if you listen to every Kamala Harris speech, you have this line. And then, of course, she has a sub-attack line, which she's used to great effect with Donald Trump. I know Donald Trump's type, right? Every speech, it's repeated.
I know Donald Trump's type. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. So hear me when I say.
And this is now almost spontaneous recall, like a pop star, right? You could be at a Led Zeppelin or Taylor Swift concert and look at the audience go wild now, yes?
I know Donald Trump's type.
Brilliant, isn't it? Yes. So easy. She's been saying the same things for 4 years, or maybe before. And of course, we will never forget Barack Obama, who weaponized this really. To my mind, he was the first modern president who used this effectively. yes, we can. We think Barack Obama. You think, yes, we can. I'll
Tyranny
just play
threatened
this
the
quickly
world.
as well.
She was there to witness a generation rise to greatness, and a democracy was saved. Yes, we can. She was there for the buses in Montgomery, the hoses in Birmingham, a bridge in Selma, and a preacher from Atlanta who told the people that we shall overcome. Yes, we can.
And that was at the end of his presidency now.
That creed reaffirmed by those who planted flags from foreign battlefields to the surface of the moon. A creed at the core of every American whose story is not yet written. Yes, we can.
Of course, we all remember and know Donald Trump's position, make America great again. But what was Hillary Clinton's? She had none, and she lost. So what should our creative posture be? We have this sort of moonshot that I take the liberty of doing at this conference. So at the 2018 conference, I had proposed that the posture after some research would be make the world a better place through my education. And it was good to see that quite a few universities had used this in their advertising over the next 4 years. For 2022, we think the posture is fear or survival. But it's fear and survival, fear and survival. It's survival not in a primal sort of way, but more in a Wolf of Wall Street sort of way. So, being part of the in crowd, using your education to be accepted as part of a group, a professional group, and getting ahead materially, while at the same time seeming to care. So after 2022, a blend of this posture we think would be quite effective. But of course, you lean on your legacy and your own research to determine your position, which then you should not change. Coming back now to our media planning template, I just thought we'd show you a case study using the Vietnam market. So Ho Chi Minh City is one of the most hotly contested media cities, especially for education. And so where does this ideal handshake occur for Ho Chi Minh? You have a range of channels, social, traditional, and digital. And it's a vast and complex landscape, local channels like Zalo, digital channels like VN Express, etc. So we select the top 4 platforms based on the envelope we discussed earlier, a CPM threshold, reach and frequency threshold. And we think this blend used at a combination of 3 to 4 channels at each time would work well. The reason I say 3 to 4 is you must be alert to moving your budgets between channels, keeping the reach and frequency in mind, because in the digital world, once you start advertising on a digital channel, you automatically tend to push the cost up, especially if your competitors are in the same channel. So you should be alert to changing gears depending on how your CPM is going. The handshake for us occurs at a mix of social display and traditional media. We have chosen, as we prescribed earlier, 65 to 35% branding versus lead gen mix across all these media. And so this is a very simple and elegant sort of template that you could use to evaluate your media plan and keep track of it. The top performing platforms we selected for reach and frequency, as I was saying, is all the normal, you've got Google there, which is omnipresent, our own platform, Pirate, which is also omnipresent, but various local channels like Tuiche, Than Nien, and the Funu group. The entry cutoff, the CPM cutoff for Ho Chi Minh, you'll be surprised, is slightly higher than Mumbai. You'd have thought it's the other way around, higher than Mumbai at US $10. So to summarize, please keep these 5 things sharply in focus. Brand versus lead gen, work your blend out beforehand. Don't be tempted to steal other people's leads from the market and then give those leads to your counselors where they cannot convert to the ratio that you want them to. Reach, frequency, and a CPM benchmark. Creative, know what you stand for, positioning, and track how you using response mechanisms to see your advertising work. Well, I know you're loving this presentation. I must end. Thank you. Thank you.